Imagine for a moment that in the hidden accounts of Jesus' life, those that never made it into the official versions of the Gospels, there existed secret signs, sacred gestures, hand movements that not only conveyed a profound spiritual message, but also opened doors to invisible realities. Consider the possibility that Christ, in addition to teaching with parables and words of power, also transmitted teachings encoded in mudras, those gestures that in Eastern tradition channel divine energies. Now consider the magnitude of this mystery. What would happen if some of these mudras were so powerful, so intense in their spiritual vibration, that they could become a double-edged sword, gestures that illuminate and save the prepared initiate, but that could destroy anyone who uses them selfishly or without being ready? Today I will reveal something that has remained hidden in the veil of time. We will talk about the 7 forbidden mudras of Christ, those gestures that, according to hidden traditions and little-known manuscripts, they contained a power capable of awakening higher forces within human beings. Throughout this video, we will explore each of them in detail and depth, and I assure you that the last one is the most powerful and dangerous of all. Pay attention, because each revelation could forever change your vision of spirituality and the true teachings of Jesus. Before continuing, I want to invite you to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share it with all those seekers of truth who, like you, are searching for truth. They want to go beyond what we've always been told, because what you're about to discover isn't simply history. It's a secret that can transform your life and your understanding of the universe. And I promise you that by the end, you'll find revelations you've never heard of that will resonate deep within your spirit. Let's begin by understanding something fundamental. Jesus wasn't just a preacher who conveyed a message of love and redemption. For many scholars of esoteric tradition like Rudolf Steiner, this is a key finding. The Master of Nazareth also embodied the great initiate, bearer of universal knowledge that extended far beyond the limits of his time and culture. His wisdom encompassed both the mysteries of the East and the secret currents of the West. And some claim that in his youthful travels he came into contact with ancient teachings from Egypt, India, and Persia. There he learned that gesture, body movement, and the energy flowing through the hands can be as powerful as the word in Hindu and Buddhist traditions. Mudras are sacred gestures used in meditation, healing, and the invocation of divine energies. Each mudra opens a channel, connecting the human being with higher spiritual frequencies. And this is where the big question arises. Is it possible that Christ used secret mudras to manifest miracles, to transmit his energy to his disciples, to overcome the forces of darkness that surrounded him? There are Gnostic and apocryphal manuscripts that offer us clues in the Gospels. Of Thomas and Philip, for example, reference is made to hidden signs, to mysteries that not everyone could understand. Jesus himself said, "Not everyone can receive this word, but only those to whom it has been given." Could these words also allude to secret gestures reserved only for the closest disciples? What we are going to explore is not a modern invention, but a reconstruction based on ancient traditions, esoteric studies, and symbols that have survived the centuries. I warn you, however, that these mudras should not be taken lightly. These are not simple hand movements, but spiritual keys that can open luminous doors or plunge you into abysses if you are not prepared. That is why they have been called forbidden. The first of the 7 forbidden mudras is related to healing. Many remember the passages where Jesus laid his hands on the sick and they were healed. But behind that gesture, there was more than compassion. There was a profound knowledge of how to channel vital energy. According to some Hermetic texts, the gesture of open hands with the fingers extended in the shape of a cross, it was not by chance. It represented the opening of the body's energy channels, allowing divine force, often called pneuma or spirit, to flow directly to the person in need. This mudra could restore lost harmony to the body, but it was also so intense that if used without purity of heart, it could drain the vital energy of the practitioner. The second forbidden mudra is related to the expulsion of dark forces. The canonical Gospels mention how Jesus cast out demons. But what is rarely mentioned is that he did so with precise hand gestures. Researchers like Elaine Pagels and scholars of Gnostic texts have pointed out that there were protection rituals in early Christian communities that included finger signs and specific palm positions. Christ, by raising two fingers to the sky and turning his wrist towards the earth, established a bridge of power between the divine and the human, cutting off the influence of dark entities. This mudra had the ability to break invisible chains. It liberates the oppressed soul, but at the same time awakens forces that can turn against those who perform it without spiritual preparation. Both mudras, the healing mudra and the liberating mudra, are gateways of light. However, they are also dangerous fires for those who are unprepared. And these are just the first two. Throughout our journey, we will reveal the others until we reach the seventh. The most powerful and the most feared, the one that can even alter reality itself. Now I ask you, what do you think? It's possible that Jesus passed these secret gestures on to his closest disciples. Have you ever felt that a simple movement of your hands could change your energy or that of those around you? Write your opinion in the comments, because this is a topic that deserves to be shared and discussed among all seekers of truth. What we have seen so far is only the beginning. We have barely opened the first door to a mystery that has remained hidden for centuries. In the next part, we will delve even deeper into forbidden knowledge, discovering gestures that touch not only healing and liberation, but also the inner transformation of one's being. The mystery of Christ's forbidden mudras is not limited to simple hand gestures. Each movement was a symbol, a key that opened doors to higher spiritual realities, but which also demanded inner discipline and purity of intention. It is no coincidence that Jesus warned on several occasions, "Let those who have ears to hear," because not everyone was prepared to receive these secrets, and even less so to practice them. We have already seen the 2-1 mudras related to healing and the release of dark forces, but now we will advance towards even deeper gestures where not only is the body touched or an invisible chain broken, but the hidden mysteries of the soul and the universe itself are awakened. And remember, the more we advance, the closer we will be to the 7th mudra, the one that concentrates the greatest power and the greatest danger. The 3rd forbidden mudra is known in certain traditions as the mudra of inner transfiguration. It is said that Christ revealed this gesture in intimate moments away from the crowds to his closest disciples. This gesture consisted of joining the thumb to the middle finger of the right hand and placing the palm on the chest while the left hand was raised towards heaven with the fingers together. What did this mean? It represented the union between the human heart and the descending divine energy. By performing it, a flow was created that allowed the disciple to feel the inner light like a burning fire. It was a mudra of transformation, capable of raising the vibration of being and opening spiritual eyes. Some Gnostic accounts suggest that this gesture was used on Mount Tabor during the transfiguration of Christ when his face shone like the sun. But here lies the danger. This mudra awakened the divine essence, and whoever was not prepared could go mad from not being able to withstand the intensity of that light. The 4th forbidden mudra was even more enigmatic, the mudra of eternal silence. In many Byzantine and medieval paintings, Christ appears with a finger to his lips, like someone guarding a secret. This seemingly simple gesture holds a powerful teaching. According to esoteric traditions, this mudra not only invited external silence, but also created a vibration capable of sealing internal energies, silencing passions and quieting thoughts. The master used it to teach his disciples that without inner silence there is no true connection with the divine. But at the same time, this mudra was dangerous because it could plunge the practitioner into extreme spiritual isolation. Disconnecting from material reality, if one cannot find balance, is the gesture that reminds us that wisdom is not obtained by speaking but by listening to the inner voice that whispers from the depths of the soul. The fifth forbidden mudra is linked to creation, to the word made flesh. Some associate it with the gesture of blessing in which Christ raised 3 fingers, upwards and 2 downwards, a symbol of the union between the divine and the human. In the Hermetic tradition, this gesture represented the power of manifestation. Realities, what is thought and spoken with purity becomes existence. In the Gospels, we are told that Jesus spoke and things happened. He calmed the storm, multiplied the loaves, and restored life. These were not mere miracles. They were acts of creation performed through the word and sealed with a sacred mudra. But here I know the risk. Whoever tries to use this power with selfish intentions could open an abyss of destruction. The gesture that creates can also undo, as Hermes Trismegistus affirmed in his texts. What is above is like what is below, and that principle could be used to build up or to tear down. Imagine for a moment the grandeur of these revelations: to heal, to liberate, to transfigure, to silence the inner chaos, to create realities with divine energy. And yet, despite their greatness, all these mudras are merely the prelude to those yet to come. There are still 2 more before reaching the 7th, the most feared, the one that was even hidden by the disciples themselves for fear that it would fall into the wrong hands. What we are exploring here is not a game. These are secrets that have been preserved for centuries in symbols, in religious iconography, in hidden rituals of the early Christian communities, and in manuscripts that are only now coming to light. Scholars like Elaine Pagels, in her research on the Gnostic Gospels, and Jean-Yves Leloup in his translations of apocryphal texts, have shown how many of Jesus' teachings remained veiled, reserved only for those who could understand them. And here I want to ask you directly, what do you think about all this? Do you believe Christ actually used hidden gestures to transmit divine energies? Or do you think these are symbols interpreted by later traditions? Write your opinion in the comments, because your perspective can enrich this journey and open new reflections for all those who seek the truth. What is undeniable is that behind the Gospels, we know there is an ocean of mysteries. Mysteries that speak of a deeper, more universal Christ, more connected to traditions, ancient beyond what we usually imagine. A Christ who not only preached with words, but taught with gestures capable of changing the energy of the world. So far we have explored 5 forbidden mudras: healing, liberation, transfiguration, eternal silence, and creation. In the next part, we will delve into the last 2 before reaching the 7th, and I warn you, what comes next is even more revealing, because the moment is approaching to speak of the power that touches the border between life and death, between time and eternity. So far, so good. We have unveiled 5 forbidden mudras of Christ, each with a power capable of transforming reality and the consciousness of those who understood them. However, what comes next touches even deeper dimensions. We approach the 6th mudra, the one that connects man with the mystery of time and eternity. And then the 7th, the most hidden, the most dangerous, and undoubtedly the most powerful of all. The 6th forbidden mudra is known in certain mystical traditions as the mudra of resurrection. It is not simply about the final act of victory. Death, as we see in the story of Lazarus or in the resurrection of Christ himself, was not a gesture that symbolized the ability to awaken what was dormant, to return life where there seemed to be none. According to studies of early Christian iconography, this mudra consisted of raising the right hand with 3 fingers joined and the palm facing forward, while the left hand rested on the ground. It was the symbol of divine force descending into matter to breathe new life into it. According to some Gnostic text, they suggest that this gesture not only revived bodies but also consciousnesses, awakening the divine spark within those who were spiritually dead, trapped in ignorance or in the chains of the ego. Imagine the power of a gesture capable of calling both body and spirit back to life. The Master used it at key moments, such as when he called Lazarus out of the tomb. "Lazarus, come forth." But here lay the risk. Awakening life without a higher Purpose could open chaotic portals and attract disordered forces that were mixed with reality. The mudra of resurrection demanded not only power, but wisdom to discern when it was right and necessary to apply it. Without that clarity, the line between light and shadow became extremely dangerous. The seventh forbidden mudra is the climax of all this mystery. It is known in Hermetic traditions as the mudra of divine creation or the mudra of the Logos. It was the gesture that, according to some scholars of apocryphal texts, Jesus would have reserved only for those disciples. They were ready to contribute knowledge that could transform the world. This mudra, described as the union of both hands, forming a perfect circle in front of the heart, represented totality, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, eternity itself. In that circle, the Master taught that divine and human energy could meet in perfect harmony, manifesting the power to create entire realities. The seventh mudra was so powerful because it not only connected with the energy of life, but also with the matrix of creation. It was the gesture that reminded us that human beings, made in the image and likeness of God, have within themselves the power to create, to transform, to give existence to what does not exist. But you realize the danger if someone were to use this power without love, without humility, and without purity of spirit. They could alter reality in a destructive way. That is why it is said that this mudra was hidden, silenced, and veiled in symbols so that only the worthy could discover it. As many scholars of Christian mysticism, like Meister Eckhart in the Middle Ages did, they spoke of this creative power in human beings. He affirmed that deep within the soul there is a spark identical to the divine essence. This spark, when awakened, transforms the human being into a co-creator with God. The mudra of the Logos, the seventh forbidden mudra, was the physical manifestation of that spark, a living reminder that true power lies not outside, but within us. Think about it. 7 gestures, 7 keys, 7 doors to spiritual dimensions that few have fully grasped. Healing, liberation, transfiguration, eternal silence, creation, resurrection, and finally the Logos. Each mudra a revelation, each mudra a step towards a more hidden, more universal Christ, closer to the mystery of the cosmos. And now I want to talk to you about something you may already be sensing. These mudras are not just part of a remote past. They are not simple stories locked in ancient manuscripts. They live on in symbols that surround us, in medieval paintings, in Byzantine sculptures, in the liturgical gestures of churches, and even in the spiritual practices of the East. Some scholars believe that these traditions never disappeared, but were camouflaged, transformed and hidden, so that only those who sought with true faith could find them. Here, an essential question arises for you. Are you prepared to look beyond the obvious, to discover in everyday gestures the presence of ancient knowledge? Because if these forbidden mudras teach us anything, it is that power is not on the surface, but in the intention, in the purity and in the awareness with which one acts. It is not enough to simply make a hand movement. It must be accompanied by an inner transformation. This leads us to a crucial reflection. Christ's forbidden mudras were not hidden because they were evil, but because they were too powerful to be in just anyone's hands. Like fire, they could illuminate and give warmth, but they could also burn and destroy. The true disciple is the one who understands that spiritual power is not for glorifying the ego, but for serving, healing, and transforming the world with love. We are reaching the very heart of this mystery. In the next and final part, we will not only recall the 7 mudras, but delve deeper into their hidden message, into the spiritual lesson that Christ wanted to leave us. Because beyond gestures and forms, what truly matters is what they reveal, the capacity to awaken the divine spark within each of us. Together, we have journeyed on a fascinating adventure, unearthing from the sands of time 7 forbidden mudras attributed to Christ, each with its own power and a meaning that transcends words. But this path does not end simply in enumerating hidden gestures. The true purpose of this revelation is to understand what they tell us today, what eternal message they hold for us, seekers of the Spirit in a world that often seems to have forgotten the value of silence, faith, and connection with the divine. The first mudra, the one of healing, reminds us that we are all channels of a vital energy greater than ourselves. Jesus showed that compassion united with pure intention, it can restore not only bodies, but also souls. Every time we extend our hands with love, we are practicing, in a sense, that same gesture. The second mudra, the mudra of liberation, teaches us that there is no darkness so strong that it cannot be overcome by light. In a world where many people feel invisible chains, fears, addictions, and inner suffering, this mudra invites us to raise our hand to the sky and remember that we are not alone, that there is a higher power ready to cut our bonds. The third, the transfiguration, is the key to awakening. It's not about external miracles, but about the transformation of our inner selves. Christ shone on Mount Tabor to remind us that we too can shine when we unite our hearts with the divine. This gesture is a call to discover the hidden light within us. The fourth, that of eternal silence, is perhaps the most necessary today. We live surrounded by noise, empty words, and constant distractions. Jesus taught us that inner silence, it is the gateway to true wisdom, silence to listen, silence to feel, silence to recognize the voice of the eternal that dwells within us. The fifth, the mudra of creation, connects us with the power of the word. Let there be light, it says in Genesis, and there was light. Jesus showed that the human word, when united with the divine logos, has the capacity to manifest realities. This mudra reminds us that we must speak carefully because our words have weight, vibration, and consequences. The sixth, the mudra of resurrection, it reminds us that death is not the end, but a transformation. The Master showed that life can emerge even in the darkest tomb. This gesture is not only to raise bodies, but to awaken dormant consciousness. Every time we are reborn from a crisis, finding meaning in the midst of pain, we are experiencing that same power. And finally, the seventh, the mudra of the Logos, the crown of all, the perfect circle that unites the human and the divine. This mudra teaches us that man's destiny is not to crawl in darkness, but remembering its origin and essence, we are made in the image and likeness of the Creator, and when we live in unity with that truth, we are capable of transforming our existence. However, here is the warning. This power was not made to inflate the ego, but to serve love. Now I want you to think deeply about what you would have done if you had been among the disciples and Jesus had shown you these mudras. Would you have used them for your personal glory or to illuminate the lives of others? Don't we still face that same decision today? Each time we discover a spiritual truth, these 7 forbidden mudras are not meant to be reproduced mechanically. It's not about learning an external gesture as if it were a magic trick. The true teaching lies in the inner attitude they represent. Each mudra is a living metaphor, a reminder that spiritual power only flourishes in a humble, compassionate heart, aware of its union with God. The hidden message that Christ left us is clear. The power is not in the hands, but in the spirit that guides them. They were visible, symbols pointing to invisible realities. In the end, what he wanted to show us is that we all have access to that power, but only those who walk with love, faith, and devotion can sustain it without destroying themselves. Remember that the most important thing in this whole journey is what you do with the knowledge received. It's not enough to just listen. It's necessary to live it. The 7 mudras speak to us of healing, liberation, transformation, silence, creation, resurrection, and union with the divine. They are not dead secrets in ancient books. These are living seeds that can blossom in your life if you choose to cultivate them. And here we reach the end of this journey, but not the end of the mystery. Because true mysteries never end, they only deepen. I invite you to reflect and comment on which mudra resonated most with you, which lesson you feel is most necessary on your path today. Share this knowledge with others, because there is power in sharing. If this message touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, show your support with a like and share. This video is for more seekers of truth to join this journey. Because what we have seen here is not a simple story. It is an invitation to awaken, to remember who we truly are, and to live with the light of Christ as our eternal guide. The seventh mudra reminds us that we are creators, children of divinity. But the final question I want to leave you with is this: what will you create with your life from now on? The answer is within you, and only you can give it. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.